Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning back in. Today's makeup is very special because we will be talking all about how to create the most flawless skin that you can ever imagine, that will still look really natural and beautiful and comfortable in real life, but it will also look great in photographs, which is very important to get this balance right. So let's go ahead and jump into today's makeup. When it comes to flawless makeup application, skincare is very important. I just like to use an exfoliator before, and this is my favorite one. This is from Fresh and it's called Sugar Strawberry Exfoliating Face Wash. When using this product, you just want to wet your hands a tiny bit and have your skin completely dry, and use this product and massage it onto the skin, and after a few seconds the sugar bits will completely dissolve and you will be left with this amazing gel oil texture that will glide on your skin so well, and it will remove all of the dead skin cells and will leave your skin a lot more radiant and smooth. No matter what your skin type is, you have to make sure you moisturize, just because if you don't, your skin is going to produce more oils and it will become more oily. And second most important is priming the skin, and what I mean by that is using a primer that is suitable for your skin type. And there's many primers depending on what skin type you have or what concern you have. You will find something for you. I'm currently loving this moisturizer primer from Bobbi Brown, and it's the vitamin enriched face base, and this primer is oil free. It's very refreshing, it smells really nice, and I mainly like to use that all over my face and just underneath my eyes to give a little bit of hydration. I personally have combination skin, meaning that my T-zone gets oily throughout the day. So what I like to do is use another primer that is just for oily skin, and this is my favorite one from Makeup Forever, the Step 1, and I like to use this primer just on my T-zone area, and this will help to eliminate any oils throughout the day. But you will see that as you're rubbing this in, it just dries instantly, and you will feel already that it looks matte even without applying any foundation on the skin. I'll just be applying that in circular motions and mainly using my fingers and just around the nose area because I have a few pores. Also make sure when you're applying it on the nose, you apply just on the sides here, because that's another area that we get really oily at. For today's foundation, I'll go in with my La Mer Soft Fluid Foundation in the shade Natural. I'll use it with my Sigma F80 brush, and this is a flat kabuki brush and it's very dense. Therefore, we will be able to really push this foundation into the skin. When you apply foundation, do not ever go from down upwards, because a lot of us, we have some hair on the skin, and therefore if you do upside down, the foundation will go and deposit underneath the hairs and it will show so much. So try to always go on downwards motions, or maybe towards your ear, like backwards. I love this brush when I want to really push the product into the skin. Personally, I don't like using a lot of foundation on the skin, and at the moment, from what you can see, I've only applied one pump of foundation, and then go in with a damp beauty sponge and start to dab that onto the skin, and this will remove any excess foundation, but it will also help to push the foundation further in even more. I'm going to build it up slightly today, so I've just taken a tiny bit more foundation on the back of my hands, and I'm taking it onto the sponge now, and just where I need more coverage, which is mainly in the center of the face, and I'll start to push that into the skin. Now, I don't like starting my foundation using the sponge just because it will absorb so much product, so I feel doing it with the brush first and then tapping it in with the sponge will give you some really great coverage, but it will also make it look super natural and super beautiful and extremely long lasting as well. And make sure your sponge is damp, because that way it will help to absorb any excess product that you don't want and will give you really beautiful results. Sisley Cern Phyto Eclat in the shade number 2, and this is a concealer corrector and it has that peachy tone. and this will help to remove and cancel out the dark circles underneath my eyes. That way, when it's time to put concealer, I'll be able to use a lot less. And I'm using my Makeup Forever 244 straight brush, or you can even use your fingers to just dab the underneath the eye area. And keep most of this product only where you have most of the darkness. So for me, that is more in this inner corner of the eyes and slightly in this outer part. Now, before I continue the rest of my under eye, I'll start the contouring, and for this I'll use my favorite product. This is from Huda Beauty and it's called the Tantour. This is in the shade Fair. I'm using the Makeup Forever 150 brush, and I love the fact that it's nice and small and it's angled, so I can just really focus this product exactly where I need it the most. So starting in this middle part of my cheekbones, and start to not do that, but just, as you can see, tapping in the skin, going upwards and downwards. And once I'm happy with it, I'll go ahead and put my brush the other way around and start to tap in. And make sure you take just a tiny bit of product at a time, just so you can be able to blend it. In my personal opinion, I think that contouring has to almost look transparent, so it should just really give you the effect, but without showing that you have this dark color on your face. Also use some on my forehead, but just a tiny bit, just because I have a small forehead. And a tiny bit for continuity just on my jawline. And now with my beauty sponge, and I'll go on top of this contour and just melt it into the skin even more. I still order Double Wear Concealer in the shade number 2C. It's more of a light to medium coverage, and it has that great finish where it just doesn't sit in any of the lines. I've used a tiny bit lower down from the corrector that I applied earlier, and just a tiny bit in this outer part here. And now with my Zoeva 110 brush, and I'm literally just tapping in. And this brush is perfection because it's the perfect size for the under eye, and it's nice and dense, so I can just tap it in and it will blend away this concealer really seamlessly. Make sure you're also not dragging, because this will disturb the other layers underneath, and you will also not get very good coverage. And in case you have a lot of product on your brush, all what you want to do is whatever you want to get rid of, just put it on the center of your forehead. That's what I like to do, and it just makes it so much easier that way. MAC Prep and Prime in Light Boost, and this is a very unique product because it's almost like a highlighter for the under eye and for the face. It has that yellow undertone, which is great because it will give us some extra brightness and illumination. This product has a much lighter texture than the concealer that we applied earlier, so you use it afterwards in the end, just in areas that you want to bring out and make them look brighter and more illuminated. This is optional, but I find that it makes a massive difference, you know, just in the end, to help really brighten and highlight these areas that we've applied it. And I'm going back in with the same Zoeva brush and tapping that in. So this specific shade will be only suitable if you have light to medium skin tone. If you have more darker skin, then you will have to look for the other shades that they have in MAC. And look, now that I'm going to blend this first one underneath, how much brighter it will make the under eye look. It's amazing. And this is also great, especially if you have under eye bags. You would want to put this product just where the shadow is created, and this will help to really illuminate this area for you. Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder, and I'll use this powder to set my under eye area, but before I set it, you want to remove any concealer from if it has stayed in any of the lines. So with my damp beauty sponge, I'm literally blending underneath. You don't have to apply a lot, and I'm not going to be baking underneath my eyes because I really think that it's too heavy, especially on me. It doesn't work. I mean, if you have any fine lines or wrinkles under the eyes, I would not suggest to bake because it will make your under eye look a lot more heavy and definitely more aged. Hourglass Ambient Lightening Powder in the shade Radiant Light, and I'll start to really just go on top of my cream contour and stamp it, and that way it will just help give it the most beautiful golden color and will really give the face that contour, but it wouldn't make it look muddy. It will give it that really beautiful golden effect. You can use a more brown color, you know, more matte, but I prefer this because it's a lot more forgiving and it will give the face that really beautiful glow. And just some on the forehead. Because this is a powder, it will be almost like setting your skin as well, so we will need even less powder. And now for some blusher, I'll use one of my favorite ones, and this is the Hourglass Ambient Lightening Blush in Luminous Flush. And I'll take my Suku cheek brush and start to apply that from the center and going upwards. And it's really important that you use a brush that is not too thick, just so you can apply this product really airy in a way. And this brush is gorgeous because it won't disturb any of the layers underneath. Another very similar brush to the Suku one is this one from Morphe, and this is the M500, and it's a much cheaper alternative to this Suku brush. And this specific brush is so soft, and it gives that really beautiful finish to the blush. I'll use now another blush, and this is the Milani Baked Blush in the shade Luminoso. And I use the same exact brush which I used before, and now take this mist from Estee Lauder, and then I go on top of this Hourglass one and use this, and just gives this blush a tiny bit of punch, and it makes the blush, you know, pop out and make it look so incredible on the skin. And because this blush has a little bit of highlighter in it, it just gives that gorgeous highlight to the skin without being too much. I have quite a few spots on my skin, and for this I like to take a full coverage concealer, and this one is from MAC. It's the Pro Conceal and Correct palette in the shade Medium, and it's great to have that kind of palette because you can mix and match the colors, you know, depending on the time of the year, that if you're a bit more bronzed or a bit more pale, you can mix it. So with spots on the face, unfortunately you can't get rid of them 100%. So a lot of the times it's better to let them show a tiny bit rather than caking a lot of product onto the spot. So not too much product, so you can be able to blend it really well. Iconic London drops in the shade Original. And these drops are amazing. They're very metallic. And using my Kit-Co number 1.15 and literally putting that on the very high parts of my cheekbones. And this highlighter is beautiful, but it's very metallic, so you have to make sure you apply a very small amount. And I love using some of this on the top of my lip. It looks really good. Going back in with the sponge and melting that in with the rest. Laura Mercier powder and my Real Techniques setting brush, and literally tapping that on the areas that I want to powder. So for me that will be mainly on my T-zone area because that's where I get most oily. And to sharpen the contour slightly, I'll use that underneath my contour area. To set my whole face, I'll use the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. If you were to use this spray straight onto your face, make sure that you don't inhale this product just because it's not very good for your lungs. But for today's look, I love to just spray that onto my sponge. Now go onto the face and stamp the whole makeup with it. And I find that way it just removes again any excess that is remaining on the face, but it also really pushes this setting spray onto the face. I forgot to mention earlier that you can use this just before you apply your foundation, so even on top of your other primers you can spray a few spritz of this and then apply your foundation, and it will help give it even more long-lasting effect. But even the way that I created it, it will still be very good and super long-lasting. So this is the finished look of my flawless skin, and I really hope that you liked this video and you took a lot of tips and tricks. You don't necessarily have to do all of these things together for them to work. You can just take some of these tips and techniques and just use whatever will work for you. But if you have any questions, please make sure to let me know in the comments below, and also let me know if you have any certain products that I should try that you absolutely love for creating flawless skin. I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.